Hi guys, so former Prime Minister and destroyer of economies Liz Truss sat down with Iain Dale of LBC to answer his questions, and frankly I don't know who was worse here, the interviewee or the interviewer. Dale spoon-fed the former Tory leader her talking points and then allowed her to respond with unchallenged tripe. He started out by suggesting those who blame Liz Truss and her administration for crashing the economy in 2022 are, and I quote, the left. Very poor journalism. Have a listen.
But the result of this is, instead of people on the left blaming Margaret Thatcher for every economic ill in our society 30 years after she left power, what they're doing now is blaming everything that's wrong in our economy on that mini budget, aren't they? Now that must sort of anger you to an extent, because
it's not people on the left that are blaming Liz Truss. It's everyone. Economists, the Bank of England. People who know what they're talking about are blaming Liz Truss. Now, is Liz Truss responsible for everything? No, and nobody's actually saying that.
You can question some of the measures, you can question their impact, but to blame everything
but it's
on
not,
that budget...
What they're saying is not borne out by the facts. It's a smear. It's a smear.
Why is nobody countering that smear? I mean, you are, obviously, by writing the book.
I'm countering it. A lot of economists have countered it.
What economists? Can you name some names? Name some institutes apart from the IEA, which is, 55 Tufton Street. Of course, they're going to back you. They're the ones who were giving you the advice in the first place. My goodness, what economists, Liz Truss? Can you name them? Then we can actually ask them ourselves and say, are you saying that Liz Truss was not responsible for part of this problem, a significant part of this problem? I think most of them would say, yes, she was responsible. Look at the state of the economy today. It's somewhat recovering, but it took a massive nosedive as a result of the mini budget. And of course, many people are still paying higher mortgages, which are being passed on to, for example, renters, as a direct result of that.
A lot of, when I meet people, quite often out canvassing or out on, the street, people will say you did the right thing.
Who are these people? You would think that she would, if she found people like this, she'd be able to get them to say in front of a camera, yes, Liz, you did a good job. You should have gone further. But for some reason, these people perhaps only exist within Liz Truss's mind.
So I think a lot of the public understand what I was trying to do. But
if a lot of the public understood what you were trying to do, then a lot of the public would want you back. But a lot of the public don't want you back. There is no poll that points to Liz Truss becoming leader of the Conservative Party again. Now, maybe there are some people within the Conservative Party itself that want Liz Truss back. Crazy people. But even a majority of MPs don't want you back as leader. A majority of MPs want Rishi Sunak to remain as leader. They don't want another leadership campaign or contest, because it'd be damaging to the party, but also the idea of putting the person who is shackled, whether you like it or not, shackled to this idea of the economy being damaged, that you should really go away.
The left have, in the same way as they sort of say, government was trying to abolish the forests, or they're trying to do this, they're trying to smear me with economic results that I'm clearly not responsible for,
But see, if in Liz Truss's mind, she's not responsible for anything here. Why are people so upset? People's mortgages were probably going to go up anyway. So why blame Liz Truss for this? Now, I don't know whether she actually believes this, or she's been surrounded by these people within the IEA and other right-wing think tanks who've been constantly pushing this idea that there's nothing to do with Liz Truss. Or is it, and I suggested this before, that Liz Truss isn't very intelligent. She's a bit of an empty vessel. She doesn't actually have any ideas of her own. She just waits for people to tell her what to do. Because if you look at her career over the last number of decades, she used to be a member of the Liberal Democrats. Then she joined the Conservatives. She was a Remainer. She campaigned for the UK to remain part of the European Union. As soon as the vote came in, she switched to becoming a Brexiteer. So how does somebody go through all those different steps and still I don't know, remain in some sort of sane mind. unless you're an empty vessel, unless you don't actually have any principles.
Why are people, currently struggling? Well, very high energy bills. Why is that? Well, we haven't done things like fracking, which we should have done, which would have made energy cheaper.
It would not make energy cheaper because the energy would be sold on the international market. Once again, are you stupid or are you just an empty vessel? Does she actually think before she says things, or is she just regurgitating the talking points that the IEA and other right-wing think tanks tell her to? Does she actually have a functioning brain? Like if somebody said to her, actually, Liz, the energy would not be cheaper because it's sold on the international market. And this is where the journalism falls apart here. A real journalist would say, stop a moment, don't you know that the gas and oil and gas is sold on the international market? Do you know that? And I would ask her to say yes or no and not move on from the interview until she had admitted that she knows that. If she didn't know that, then she'd just say, no, I didn't know that. Now I do. I'll stop making that stupid point.
They're struggling with the cost of living. Why are we in that position? Answer is Britain's economic growth has not been enough. And whatever mistakes I may have made, and I'm not saying I haven't made mistakes, I did not cause Britain's lack of economic growth. I tried to fix it.
By burning it down. I tried to fix the damage to the forest by burning down the forest. Notice she'd say, I've made mistakes. She won't admit what those mistakes are. That'd be a very big political mistake, to actually admit your mistakes and point them out. She won't do that. How can you say that you care about growing the economy when you still support Brexit? Nobody who cares about growing the economy can still support Brexit. But once again, we don't know Liz Truss's real position on anything, because she used to hold one position and then as soon as something happened, she changed her position. So this is a bit of a pointless interview. You're interviewing somebody who obviously wants to get back into the limelight, a bit like Boris Johnson, another narcissist who doesn't care about Britain, cares more about herself. And probably, as I said before, she's a bit of an empty vessel where there are certain interests who would like to have Liz Truss back in charge because they can tell her exactly what to do. She doesn't actually have a functioning position herself, a functioning brain maybe, because she just does what she's told. She's told by these right-wing think tanks, cut taxes, then we cut taxes, we lower, don't provide extra funding for public services. I don't do that. She doesn't actually have a position herself. It's pointless interviewing somebody like this because they're not going to actually tell you what they think, only what maybe the right-wing think tanks want her to think. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.